And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the bottom line. Lanny Ford for Rembert. And I'm just hoping, if you're too loud over there, let me know, because I've got new equipment and I got stuff. Make sure it works. Are you getting it?
Definitely close enough to the microphone today.
Easy, big guy.
Is this good? I'm making sure that.
Easy. Rock and roll. Let's rock and roll.
Ow.
Now I'm just like I say, I'm just hoping it all works right. You don't know till you get on board, and so we'll see if it works or not.
No pun intended. Till you
right,
get on board.
Good morning, Brian Huss. Okay, now I'm waiting for comments to come in. I can't hear. It's double. It's echoing. I'm assuming everything's good because I don't have anybody complaining this early. So
it's your new board.
Thanks for joining in. 59 degrees this morning when we got up. Richie, good morning. Brian, good morning. Glad to have all you guys with us here this morning. Thanks for joining in. Let's see. Yep, Stone Cold 4 Rembert has the juice this morning. He comes in and walks straight back to the refrigerator. That's what he does. Let's see. I got to put my glasses on to do this. We have baseball tonight. Baseball originally scheduled for tomorrow night. Lots of rain in the forecast, so we're assuming most baseball, softball games have been moved up. I can't confirm that, except two games that affect us right here. North Lincoln plays tonight. We'll have that game 7 o'clock.
Yep.
David Keever, Rick Mitchum will have that game, and then the other game in the area is East Lincoln.
Yep.
And East Lincoln plays North Lincoln hosts Crest.
Right.
East Lincoln travels. They travel to Eastern Guilford. But we're assuming those games are going to go off. Glad to have you at home, Milton. Glad to be.
Yes.
I know you're glad to be home.
Congratulations, brother. Hope things go well.
Yep. Had a picture of him last night on Facebook.
Yeah.
Let me give you the rundown of the games that are either going to be played today or tomorrow. And as I said, if you've got one you want to see, you better check with the school to find out. But I do know that those two games have been moved up for sure. Cherville will host Mountain Island Charter.
It's going to be a great game.
In the 1A baseball. In 2A, Bandy's will host Mount Pleasant.
Yep.
And Lincoln Charter will host Forbush. Forbush has always been one of those formidable baseball teams. And I want to say, is that not where Jack Moss was for a long time that played at Cherville?
Forbush.
Was it Forbush or Starmount?
You know, it's one of the two. And, you know, you talk about their baseball there, right? So Quinn played in a tournament up there last summer at Forbush. And a lot of banners and individual banners on that fence, and at the ball field. That's a great question about Jack. I don't know.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's that way though, up that way.
Good for you, Sissy Lee. She got 3 miles in today and got her 10 total for the week before the rain starts. She actually ran her first 5K.
I saw that. Yeah.
I'd like to do that, but I'm old.
I will drive what was it, the 5K?
5K. That's
the last one I did here in Maiden, we did I think it was a 5K in Maiden for the elementary school for like a fundraiser. And, of course, Quinn was, doing it and everything. He was like, 5th grade, and Gary was like 2. And, of course, he had to do it. Well, first of all, I ain't running anywhere, okay? So I ended up carrying Gary up down those hills in that course. I told my wife, I said, if you ever put me in anything like this again where I'm not monitoring or driving it, that's it.
I get it.
Of course, it could have been a plan of hers anyway to make sure that.
Insurance money.
Right. Never turn your back at the top of the stairs.
That's correct.
Amen.
3A, South Point will be traveling to South Rowan. South Rowan, the number 1 seed in the 3A. As I said, North Lincoln Crest. This will be at North Lincoln. That game, 7 o'clock, WLON. You can catch it right here. Ford will travel to West Henderson.
That'll be a great game.
Kings Mountain will host Carson. They're number 3. Eastern Guilford, number 6, hosting number 11, East Lincoln.
Yep.
Parkwood will host St. Stephen's. A lot of baseball still left in the 3A. Richie said Miss was coach at Forbush. I'll have to look up, Jack, because we went up there to a tournament somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
That's it.
Off 77.
That's
and I
it.
could have sworn Jack was up there.
No, that's it.
Lake Norman will host South Meck. They're a number 9 seed. Mooresville got beat in the first round by T.C. Roberson.
Yeah.
And then softball. Softball's going in, same thing.
Mandy said good morning.
Good morning, Mandy.
After I said, oh, God.
Cherville in softball, they will be hosting North Stokes. Cherville is an 8. And let's see, everybody else in the 1A locally got beat. In the 2A, Bandy's moves on. They'll host North Stanley. West Lincoln got beat 5-1 earlier. Maiden got beat by Southwestern 7-4, and Lincoln Charter got beat by Wilkes Central. East Lincoln will be hosting East Rowan. East Lincoln is number 1 seed in softball.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what, with all the buzz about the baseball and that kind of thing, and I give Coach Mattil a lot of credit, as far as baseball goes, and then of course piggybacking on softball. Sometimes you just got to manage your season to get to the playoffs, because people remember much more about the possibility of winning a state championship than they do who was the conference champion. And a great example of that, Lanny, is my first year at Maiden coaching in 1996 football. We absolutely destroyed everybody in our conference. All right, we were conference champions, Bandy's included. Bandy's went to state championship, and of course got beat, I think, by Clinton that year. But if you ask people about 1996,
but that was divide.
No, it wasn't. Not 96.
You sure?
I'm 100%.
Okay.
100%. So what's interesting about that is that's when, and you remember the manuals we used to get, and they would say this conference number 1 versus that.
The way I like it.
Right. But, the point is people in Maiden, obviously where we live will tell you 96 we won a conference championship. But the thing the theme there is Bandy's went to the state championship. So I think Coach Mattil is real, and of course North Lincoln as well, and Ford and Saint. It's a great 3A conference. They're trying to set that thing up to make the run in the end, right? And the thing with softball at East Lincoln, they were just hands down just better than everybody else. And those kids play hard. And I got to see several. I didn't get to see them live. I got to see several video clips. Some of the kids work out locally here. It's impressive. If you like softball, you definitely want to watch them play.
Yeah, that was.
They're good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And you got 2 teams that are
agreed.
moving on. Richie said autocorrect made it miss. Jack Moss was at Forbush. I thought he was.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought he may still be there. I'm not sure. The rest of the games that we got, let me go on back through here. It's such small print I had to put the glasses on. North Lincoln travels to North Buncombe in softball, and Crest will host Carson. That's in the 3A. And in the 4A, Lake Norman will travel to East Forsyth. Mooresville's the number 4 seed. They will host Piedmont. So that's your update. If you want to see some of those games, better check because I got a feeling most of them is going to be moved up till today because they're calling for weather. Andrew's got a bull update for me.
Okay.
Let's see here. Might want to give Captain George's a call and let them know we're on the way this afternoon. We're coming in for crab legs and corn.
Okay, so that's going to be our theme is crab legs and corn. Because Harry, I call him the bull, Harrison, I call him Harry, he absolutely crushed those crab legs. And G absolutely crushed the corn. Dad, this is the best. Now, we're George's, as you know, the ultimate seafood buffet.
There's a lot more than corn there, just in case anybody's wondering.
2 things. Number 1, if you don't need any sodium in your diet at all, then you go to the grocery store and buy something. Because if you go to eat there, you're going to swell like a blowfish for multiple reasons, all right? But Harrison was over crushing those crab legs. Leslie and Mandy couldn't give them to him fast enough, and he was working on his own. G said, Dad, this is the absolute best corn I've ever had.
A corn connoisseur?
I wanted to ask that guy, I said, can I get a price per piece of corn instead of having to pay the buffet price? Because he's not eating anything else.
A corn connoisseur.
God.
Yeah. Todd said that morning, Bill Klein. Todd said that he heard a Bandy softball player hit a home run, and she high-fived another player after rounding third and was called out.
Yes.
And they still won 16-0.
They did. So just so people, and I'm sure everybody knows, but just to reiterate that, if it was their own teammate that was on the bases, you cannot touch or contact in any way, or that's considered not necessarily passing them, but you just can't contact. And that may have been what happened. Now, if it was a player coming off the bench giving a high five and they did that, that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. Steven said best seafood on the East Coast. Yeah, I'd never been there. When I used to do the buffets, when I was a former fat man, I was traditionally a Bennett's. Bennett
yes.
Seafood. That was the one that I usually hit. Captain George is new, and so that's how I didn't get that. Richie said, I wonder if I was going to be able to work today. Full day of ACC softball tournament starting at 11. I watched softball last night till I went to sleep, Richie.
Stream it, baby.
Yeah. I watched
awesome.
The SEC tournament is one that happened to be on, and I watched Texas A&M and Georgia and Ole Miss were playing next, and I can't remember Texas A&M and who they were. Florida. They were playing Florida.
I saw a little bit of, I mean like this much, of the LSU and Mississippi State. Now, I'll tell you what, the girls from Mississippi State, LSU's obviously really good. Mississippi State, they don't play around either. Oh my God, I think it's like not red, but it's is it a burgundy color?
Almost, it's a deep red,
it's real deep, But I tell you what, the full uniform length of that, I think, with maybe a tiny pinstripe, maybe just barely where you can see it. And let me tell you something, man. They looked apart, like just go get them. It was pretty cool.
I do, and the reason is because it's constant action. Yeah. That's the part that I like about it. It's constant action. Richie said my Tigers play the Irish today.
Notre Dame.
Yeah. Todd said he thinks the players were off the bench.
And Todd, that would be, and thank you for that, that would be another reason that is illegal and they will call. But again, it falls under that safety thing. Keep all the players off the field, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You just –
a little ridiculous, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, all you got to do is as an umpire, say, "Hey, look," and tell both coaches, "Look, just reminding you,
don't
no
let that happen
contact
again."
Off the, let's just, it's okay for kids to get excited, but hey, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever.
Well, it's just it's a little on the ridiculous side.
There's a lot of things that are on the ridiculous side.
Yeah.
We could do a whole week's worth of shows.
Oh, I know.
On, doing your job. You're so busy doing your job that you're too busy to do your job. We could have a whole show on that too.
This is something I'm just going to throw it out here, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll talk about when we come back. The ACC's at spring meetings, and they are discussing a format changed, and it will be a 3-5-5 scheduling model in which teams play 3 permanent opponents, then rotate the rest over a 2-year period, 5 1 year and 5 next year. We'll talk about that next. I want to see if my spots work today because I haven't tried this yet. We're going to see if this works or it don't work.
Laney, if they don't, I've got them memorized. And
it's okay. It's okay. I've got a different way
Mooney
to do
Insurance. Please go by and see Rick Lawing today. If you don't,
or Bubba in Denver.
If you don't see Rick, go see Anthony in Denver.
Let's go try this and see what happens.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
All right, I'm close, but no cigar. I got to figure that part out.
I love it.
I don't know what happened there.
Is Lindsay still on with us?
Huh?
Is Lindsay still
Probably
on?
So. CSU still there? Okay, nobody said we was doubling up, so we're okay. It's all about the broadcast. Lincoln Pauley says no common sense being applied by bad umpires. Yeah. Now Link was one, and he'll tell you this. There are some things that he would do to keep things under control when they were out of control.
Right, absolutely.
But it was common sense judgment. We don't have enough of that going on. Thank you, Richie. Times Oil, there's always time for times. There's always time to stop by times. That's my tagline. I'm not getting revenues from that. I'm not getting any royalties from that. No.
Oh.
Richie said the ACC lineup for today: Syracuse versus Virginia Tech, Clemson versus Notre Dame, Georgia Tech versus Duke, Virginia versus FSU. SEC games today: Mississippi State, Tennessee, Missouri versus Bama, Florida and Kentucky. Florida's the one that beat Texas A&M. And then Ole Miss versus Arkansas. So Ole Miss put out Georgia last night. That was the game after that I was watching. Morning, honey. Thank you. So that was the game that was after that. But I love me some college softball.
Oh, yeah.
When it gets down to this part where you're watching, close to the end of the season, then you start the conference tournaments, and then you start the World Series. It's almost like college football and the NFL. When I get to those final weeks, I hate it because it's going to be gone and I don't get to watch it anymore. But to watch some of those girls play is just absolutely amazing.
And it is, and I'm so glad that they're able to televise these things.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, as softball was becoming more popular, and I'm talking about in the South from the fast pitch standpoint, back in the early to mid 90s. You know, since then it's just skyrocketed. You know, it's like anything else. You know, some of the coaches that were, I remember David Schubert, who taught and coached out at Ford. It's Lexi's daddy, who was a great softball player at Ford. She was real tiny, and that was my first, I say first teaching job, but I was there for like half a year. But I remember going to a basketball game. He was the girls' basketball coach, and I was fortunate enough to let Jim Norris let me just hang out so I could meet people, you know, and just name me assistant coach or whatever basketball. We were riding to Hickory, and I remember him and Coach Norris talking about that, and David Schubert was a slow pitch coach. He said, if they ever go to fast pitch, I'm going to quit immediately. Well, the next year they did, and then ironically, his daughter became like one of the greatest pitchers ever to come out of this area. Lexi was amazing. She played, you know, upstate and was just – but it's so funny, like, because it took him a while to make that adjustment, and when he did, he really saw – like Chris Kozort, one of my best friends growing up in Burke County at East Burke. He's my neighbor in Valdez. He coached high school baseball for, you know, like 20 years, and when his daughters got older, they started getting into softball. He told me he would never go back and coach baseball again. He loves softball. He coaches at Drone. Absolutely loves it. Does some, you know, did some things over here at the lab for a while, and I mean, just it's amazing, Laney. Just the point is of, you know, how infectious watching that, and you're a great example of that. You know, it's a high speed, fun, energetic game, where baseball is more of very few spurts of energy compared to softball. This
ton of strategy comes into play, especially in college baseball. Now, I can watch college baseball more than I can watch MLB, but the softball games just click along, and there's so much emotion. Yeah. Now, one play that happened last night that was so funny, or I thought was funny, Bob said Lenore Ryan and Wingate softball today at 2 p.m. You can stream it at lrbears.com.
Very cool.
Thank you, Bob. And LR's not a slouch at softball either. But
no.
A new pitcher came in for Florida, and I cannot remember her last name, and she had a ball hit back to her and had a force at third, and she was a left-hander. But it must have bobbled a little bit in the glove, and she couldn't get her hand on it. And when she threw it, it was the first bounce to the third baseman. Is the ugliest thing you ever seen. Third baseman made the catch and made the force out. But it was like, I know she had to be embarrassed. Like I'm zipping it in at 65 and I can't throw it to third base.
You know, it's so funny. Like in the fact that what I'm going to say is to your point about the third baseman digging that ball out. What's interesting to me is when a ball is thrown to like a base, like especially first base, and it's in the dirt. A lot of times, you know, first baseman for whatever reason, you know, turn their head or just have the hardest time with it. But yet, if you hit them the same thing that's a ground ball, they're able to just scoop it right up. And that's one thing I tell kids a lot, whether it be softball or baseball. You know, when we're working with them, talking to them, listen, a ball thrown in the dirt, everything's, you know, from a perspective, it's the same thing. It's not, but in mindset, it's the same thing as a ball being hit to you. You don't turn your head when the ball's hit to you when it's in the dirt. Ground ball. Why would you do it when somebody throws it? Why does that matter? And it's all perception. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Sorry.
No. Andrew said softball seems like they literally hang on every single play, meaning that every play they play like it's do or die. Like last night, it was the top of the seventh, okay? Top of the seventh in that Florida A&M game, and A&M was able to get 2 runners on base and a batter, and before you know, it's like 4-1. You got a tie game. She dings one, and it can happen just that quick, and that's the part that I like about it.
And it can, just like in baseball, it could be the number 9 hitter, but in softball,
doesn't matter. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's quick.
Yeah, and it just happens before you know it. But and you still have the passion from the coaches that get all bent out of shape over plays and different things, and. But, you know, the emotion, and I used to hate it because I used to tell Addison when she was playing, I said, you're not cheerleaders. But softball girls are constantly chattering, talking, singing, rhyming, whatever. They put the backwards hats upside down. I mean, all this stuff, and it's on every game, every play. They are in the game every minute.
It's in unison.
Yeah.
All right. So baseball, you hear it coming individually with different verbiage and things like that. In softball, it is normally in unison, and that's the difference. Now, I have seen some – holy cow, man. I've seen some baseball teams do that in unison over the years. And
I have seen –
as a traditionalist –
yeah, you don't like that.
Oh, my God.
They had cameras.
Drives me insane.
They had cameras on the Georgia team and the Ole Miss team waiting to get on the field. They were already fired up.
Oh.
They were all bumping and everything was going on because they were ready.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
They were ready to go.
It's kind of like watching guys, in football, guys come out of the tunnel. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's that same kind of – I mean, I know it's two different sports, but it's like that same kind of excitement. You know,
but that energy's great.
It is.
I mean, that
it's
energy
infectious.
is absolutely great.
It is infectious. You know.
No, it's I love it. I love watching it. Andrew said in softball and 10 and 11 you travel baseball.
He's talking about the clapping. Yeah, that now the little kids don't bother me, but when I was coaching, I think it was at Maiden. We were playing the playoffs one year. We played. God, was it Northmore? I can't remember who it was. There's like 8 or 9 of their team over there in unison doing things. And I looked at my guys and I said, let me tell you something.
You ever do that?
Now, I was like 24, 25 years old, so you got to give me some grace here. But I said, if you ever, I just come out of college baseball too, okay?
Yeah.
So that's like a death sentence, okay? If you ever do that, I will tie you to the back of the bus. But, you know, I mean, it's just, I mean, to each his own right. But it's fun. I mean, everybody's just having their fun.
Link says the bases are too close in softball. They need to be a little bit wider.
You know, Link, there's been some talk about that because the speed of the game, the girls are.
It hasn't been updated to match the performance of the athletes.
Link, I'm glad you brought that up. So a couple of things. The speed of softball is what has made it very special. But as we know, like in the NBA years ago, they thought about going, was it to the 11-foot basket?
Yeah.
You know, the game is constantly trying to be modified because the athletes are training at such a high level that they're able to overcome the inefficiencies that they can find within the game that they're playing. So, Link, I would not be surprised if you see a couple things in baseball and softball, maybe in the next 5
baseball,
years.
didn't they widen the pads a little bit? Didn't they make the pads a little bit bigger?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The bases, right? The bases themselves, right? So that's what I was getting ready to say on the first one. Don't be surprised if you see a little bigger bases, a little wider, and for protection reasons. And I am one, even though I'm a traditionalist, I am a big I'm in very much favor for a second first base because of the collision standard going down. Okay, and what I mean by that is you have the regular first base that you have, and then you have the other one just on the outside of the line. Okay, I am a big fan of that. All right, because there's no sense when it's not going to make a difference in how quick you touch the base or how quick they get it. Okay, if you can separate any kind of contact that as much as possible and still not take away from the integrity of the game. In my opinion, it does not take away. Okay, it gives everybody a little bit more room in a tight situation. Okay. And then the second thing
but
is –
you wouldn't have to have a second pad, just make that one wider.
Well, the second pad – no, I understand what you're saying. But from a legit – let's just do this. From a logistic standpoint of safety, if you've got two bases, even if they widen all of them out, it's not going to hurt anything to have that second one beside it, okay? You know, it's in foul territory, okay, because they're so close. And the second thing is, to Link's point about the length, the issue they're going to have with that is everything is about timing. And for every foot, all right, now I don't have – this is just in talking, okay? But for every foot that a base is manipulated, then the part about the arm, it takes 4 to 5 years for the arm to catch up because the infield would then have to be theoretically bigger and positioning would be different. So that's the other thing. So do they do it at 4 inches at a time, 6 inches, I know this sounds crazy, but these are all factors that factor into what Link is saying, and he's not wrong.
You make it gradual. You don't make one big change.
So, and to Link's point, if you did back it up, let's say Link said, well, as official, I think they'd go and back it up 5 feet. He's right in running, but in the fielding aspect of it, it completely changes the dynamics of the game.
Yeah.
So and that's okay. You just got to kind of gradual to it, or it'll take some things away.
Richie thought they did that in softball as far as the base pads being larger, but they didn't. I don't remember seeing it in softball. I remember seeing it in baseball, and that was from an MLB standpoint. I don't know that that's filtered down anywhere. I think the bigger base pads were an MLB thing.
I'm a fan of that. I am, because it gives a little bit more area for people to avoid as much contact as possible, because those are the ending injuries. Since you can't run over anybody anymore, you can slide.
I got to get my wife's maiden comments in here. She'll have a duck fit. No better tunnel experience than it made in high school, although it was at the old stadium.
The boys, I'm telling you, the boys are working on a new one this year. We've had a couple of days of spring practice, and we got some muscular big kids, and they are working on some fun stuff in addition to the smoke coming out of the tunnel.
Yeah,
I'm talking about a couple of them look like WWE guy. I mean, we got some kids that have been trained a long time, and these guys are hungry. They are ready to go.
All right, let me take another time out. We'll be back with more. See if I can do it twice.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
All right, I got to figure that part out. That's still not right. That's ugly coming in. I don't want to do that. That's ugly coming in. Thanks for being here with us today. I don't have enough hours in the day to make all this stuff work exactly right, but I'll get there eventually. Don't you change that song? Let me back up here. Gosh, I got behind. Tyler said we used a double bass at West Lincoln in softball.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you could do it in baseball as well. I would. I just think it's you have the option to do it. You can do it in Little League. Unfortunately, very few people do it. But I really think that anytime you can make things more safe and not take away or detract from the game itself, then you've accomplished, something great. It's when you start putting all these rules in about for the good of the kids and, all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Richie said he remembered seeing a game where they had another base beside first base. The runner step on it was red.
That's double for yes. So it'll either be orange or red.
Okay.
And then that's what happens.
Let me go back to the ACC topic that we had talked about before. They're looking at moving to a 3-5-5 scheduling model. Earlier this week, the NCAA Football Oversight Committee recommended conference no longer be required to have divisions to hold a conference championship.
Right.
Okay, let me go on record to start with that I don't want so many teams that you can't play everybody in the conference in the same year. Let me go ahead and go on record with that because it's hard to determine a conference champion if you don't play everybody in the conference. Let me just get that out there. Now, I'm not in charge, so it don't really matter.
Big Ten what?
Huh?
Big Ten what? ACC what?
The Division I Council is set to vote on it later this month, which is expected to pass. It was repeatedly said conferences should have the right to determine their conference champion. He said he's in favor of passing the required legislation to make it happen. And then he discussed the new scheduling format with ADs and coaches during the league-wide meetings to get their feedback. Now, this was the NCAA Oversight Committee. The two I think that drives this is, one is the opportunity for our student-athletes to play every school with the ACC over a 4-year period of time. Don't make the conference so freaking big. And then you don't have to worry about it, okay? Just going to reiterate that. That's just not the case right now. The other piece of it is I've always felt that was a local decision about how you handle your conference. You're seeing that across multiple conferences, they'd like to dictate what your championship structure looks like, and which will lead into eventually an expanded football playoff. That's where you're going to. But you want the best two teams to play at the end of the year. That's not always happened because a lot of times in the ACC and other conferences, the best two teams were in the same division. So I don't want to say you got a watered-down game, but you did. And the team that came in second in the division didn't get the opportunity even though they were the best one. Now, that goes back, and I'm going to expand on that just a little bit, okay? Go back to the NFL. Go back to the NBA. The NBA has 30 teams. They take the top 8 out of the Eastern Division and the Western Division, okay? Why not take the best 16 teams in the league and let them play in the playoffs? If it's the NFL and you're taking however many – see, I don't like the division thing in the NFL. I don't like the division winner. You've had division winners that had losing records, and they get a home game.
NFC South.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't like that. I mean, I understand it for play, and the NFL has this model where this division in the AFC plays this division in non-divisional games this year.
Right,
I mean, they've got this thing skewed up to where it's like that, and that's fine for scheduling.
Right.
I want the best teams. I don't care where they come from or where they're at. I want the best teams in the playoff, in the tournament.
So I think, I don't think anybody would disagree that they want to see the best two teams, right? So I think what happens too, Laney, all the way down through into, like, let's just use high school football, for example. The problem is when they did the potting system, years ago, is that you would be playing, the same, and I'm talking about first and second round, kind of like Major League Baseball and the others. You'd be playing
in the name of cost and travel.
Right. You would be playing like if Cherville and West Lincoln played on Friday night last game of the season. I'm just giving an example. Then they turn around and play the next week in the first round playoff game. Right. So I think some variety is what they're looking for. Is maybe some of the reason they're looking for, having these divisional winners play these, and having wild cards and all these things. But in college football, all right, if you want to make things more interesting, all right, do what you said. Make sure that you only have enough teams in a conference where you can play everybody.
That's correct.
All right, and then, all right, let the conference champions and some at-large go to a playoff system. That way they're not playing 11 and 12 regular season games, okay? They're playing 8 or 9. Now, what is the argument against that? We're losing 3 to 4 weeks of revenue to be
you'll make it, but you will make that revenue up with postseason play because people will pay more for that.
No, I don't disagree with that. If you do complete revenue share,
yeah.
The problem is there's so many sports within that university system. All right, and some people use the word minor sports. I tend to use the word to not marginalize it. Sports that don't create enough revenue.
Non-revenue producing.
Right, okay, and I think that's fair.
That's correct. Right,
because I don't
But that's what they really are.
No, that's truth. So I don't want to say, like some people say minor.
No, I agree.
That, I believe that it's because it's important to those players, coaches, and kids, fans that for that particular sport. But that's where all this revenue comes from. And just like the High School Athletic Association – saying we need to have centralized sites for state championships. Opinion. You need to have an East one year and a West the other year, okay? And then that way that site has the opportunity to fund programs instead of giving all that money to a huge endowment, okay? And people say, well, yeah, but, some facilities can't hold all those people. Well,
there's a regionally close facility for anybody to be able to host that.
And then they can still get the gate receipts and the concessions. Yes, you want to help the other team. There's rules within travel, but think about how much that funds other sports and the sports that are non-revenue producing and how important that is. And, again, the argument with college football, that's what they'll come back with, even though that's what we would like to see. That's what they'll come back with if they only have 8 or 9 teams in a conference.
Dave Clawson said this. He said, you're never going to come up with a model that all 14 schools are happy with. And therein lies the problem because it's 14 schools.
Who cares?
Wake Forest coach Dave Clawson said, we've played NC State for 105 years in a row.
Yeah. And
if you go to this model and they're not one of your annual rivals, that could change. You've already seen it happen in basketball.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. Maximizing more appealing matchups across the league is another area where the ACC sees room for growth, and that's where it comes about. Now, Richie said, and he's exactly right, the ACC never adjusted the divisions. That should be something that on a regular basis, if you're going to have divisions, you readjust who are in that. He said if they stay in the divisions, they need to rearrange because the long-running narrative is that they put FSU and Miami in separate divisions because that was going to be the ACC championship game that we're still waiting to happen. And they did. They kind of assumed who they thought would be the powers, and they put them in the divisions.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. That's why everybody plays. That's why you play it and let it get settled on the field.
Thank you, brother.
Instead of making assumptions, because assumptions are like opinions and buttholes. We've all got one, but they're all different. Just in case you're wondering. You like that? That's another West Lincolnism right there.
Dude, that's awesome. But it's always in the name of feelings and fairness.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Oh, I want you to feel.
But the powers that be, powers that be, I can assure you, the number one reason they do it is money. That's why
I'm
they do.
okay with that as long as it's used, for the benefit of what it's really supposed to be going to and for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have no problem. We hear this all the time that money's the root of all evil and da, da, da. Listen, money makes the world go round. It does so many wonderful things for so many people and for other causes. Like the Humane Society and all these things. The problem is, they say money changes people. I've never seen that. I think people were who they are before they got the money. Okay, and vice versa. For ones that
might give them the ability to show who they really are because of the money.
Well, that's the problem, and or it could be the blessing. If somebody's always been a giving person and maybe, at some point in their life has only, been able because of the monetary thing to give, time, but then if they acquire, wealth in some degree, then they can start giving it monetarily, to benefit others. I mean, this whole thing, listen, it is what it is, but to your point, we've got to find, and I think they're in pursuit of it, but we've got to find a system that makes sense instead of saying, tonight's ACC basketball action brought to you by such and such will feature Syracuse against Notre Dame. And you're like, excuse me, what? I have no problem with those schools, with those universities. But we got like 89 teams in the ACC and, you have 58 in the SEC. Figure it out.
Yeah. Richie said money and alcohol will give anybody the courage to speak their mind. They've always had, but were afraid to speak up. Right. Stephen said, I was told 25 years ago that the only person who cared about my feelings was my mom, so get over it. I think I know who said that, but Richie said, you know what happens when you assume you make the blank out of a you and me. I've never seen that, Richie. That is classic right there, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm keeping that one.
You and me.
I am keeping that one. That one's classic. I like that one a lot.
When you said assume, I assume that they're going to be playing tonight instead of tomorrow night, earlier in the day. What I want to do is want you to have 100% support of you on that because your assumption is absolutely right because it is going to rain.
Yeah, I know that. I just like
so you're not going to do the out of you and me with that one.
No,
all right?
No. But I go ahead and tell you from the beginning. And I do it because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, God.
All right, one more quick topic just to talk about. There's a real power struggle going on inside the PGA. Yeah. The new Saudi Arabia Tour, the LIV Tour, the first one is coming up, and it's the LIV Golf Invitational Series event. It's going to be at the Centurion Club outside London, and it conflicts with the RBC Canadian Open. Now, there were 3 players that asked for release from the PGA to do this: Phil Mickelson, Sergio Garcia, and Lee Westwood. Now, don't think that the PGA has agreed to that, and I got a feeling the PGA is going to turn out like the NCAA, and they're going to get thrown in their face, and then what they had, they're going to lose.
Yes.
NASCAR tried that. Some drivers tried to start another association, and NASCAR was going to blackball them. But that's a whole lot more money to do that. This LIV Tour, it's got the backing. The money is already there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I'm okay with that. Why can't a golfer choose where he wants to play? The PGA wants to monopolize that and hold those golfers hostage.
Probably a bad example, but it's a great question you brought up an issue. Probably a bad example, but one I'm going to try to fit in there. It's kind of like back in the 80s when you had the NFL and USFL. Okay. And so you have to have one player that's beholden, because of contracts and all that under the other one. The issue today is the U.S. Let's just say that this new golf league, out in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, all these places, that they're going to have these on tour in Europe. let's just say it's the USFL, but with a lot more money than the NFL has, okay? And, eventually, when we go more to a global society, right, and we're all interconnected, interdependent, and people can talk about globalism, and then they can talk about it, staying in your country and doing the best you can do and all that. Because of our connectivity in today's world, there's going to be major overlap. And so to your point, as the NCAA did not do on several issues because of connectivity and things changing, these two golf associations, there's no reason they can't coexist. But what the PGA, in my opinion, needs to do, if they're starting to, anytime somebody gets defensive, there's something wrong in the argument.
That's correct.
Okay. I mean, it's just like if someone were to call you.
And the PGA is just saying you can't do this because you play for us.
If someone were to call you and start screaming and hollering, about a position, and about this and about that, and trying to justify it, and they have to, raise their voice, or if they're meeting with a group of people, but if they have to meet with them individually instead of meeting with them as a group, when you have all the facts and figures on things and you have the understanding, there's no problem in meeting with a group because you can present those to everybody.
That's correct.
Right? When you have to start playing divide and conquer, then there's an issue, okay? And the thing about it is, people know that. And so –
well, you see through it. Yeah. You see
that's
through
right.
it.
You do 100%. And then that in itself brings up other issues for the person trying to make the excuses.
I have no problem as long as what you have is real and you can back it with facts.
Right. And
I need facts, not opinions and feelings.
Not points of view or twisted facts, right? So I think the big thing is you've got to, in this whole PGA, which is, of course, what we're talking about, all right, they've got to come together and figure out a way to coexist. It doesn't mean they can't be competitors, but I can promise you that the NFL, I can be pretty sure that the NFL and the USFL and the XFL will all have some kind of commonality and communication on what they're doing because they all understand it could benefit each one of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing of it is, and the part that you have to understand, you can't control everything. And if you force your hand, you're probably going to lose. You've got to have buy-in, okay? You got to have people that say, I understand your point. I want to work with you. We got to come to a compromise. We got to work together on this because if you force me to make a decision between the two, you may lose because you don't have the power that you thought you had. And that's what happened with the NCAA.
Let me ask you a question. When you squeeze your hands together and you hold them long enough, your palms start sweating, right? So anything you're holding on to real tight and trying not to let go for whatever reason, what happens? It starts slipping out of your hands.
Yep.
Okay?
No, it's –
everybody listening?
Okay. You got to understand. You got to understand that you have to work together.
You can have a firm hold on things while still extending a hand out.
Yep. Oh, let me get this from my wife before she has an absolute cow. Can't change the song.
Oh, no. That would never change. I was talking about the way – when I said the way the guys run out, you know how they always run out with flags? And, I mean, they're still going to do those things, but, kids kind of put their own little twist in things to make it fun and make it their own. And since this is basically the last dance for me for a while, of course, our seniors that are going out. I've been with these kids since they were basically born. We all kind of, get in there together. They do their thing, but I really love our interactions with those kids. I mean, I've known all. I mean, Coleman, DJ, Jabian. Of course, Quinn's been in the house since he was born, of course, and all these young people. A lot of them, their daddies I've coached or coached against, and I look for this to be a lot of fun.
Richie, I don't know the official title, but it's the song that
Space Odyssey 2000.
But there's a specific name, and it's a Space big long Odyssey, name with a lot of consonants and vowels that it's called. But Elvis used to do it when he would come on stage. And it's actually a theme song from 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yeah. He has left the building.
Elvis has left the building. Okay, I'm going to look that up because
it's a great. You play it. I love it.
Let's see. Yeah, Sprague something.
There it is, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Hal, please open the door. I'm sorry. I can't do that. Remember? Yeah. What is the theme song? It is Sprague. That's what that's called. But great movie. Great movie. Hadn't seen that. All right, that's enough madness for today. We will we'll see you. I will not be here tomorrow. I've got to travel tomorrow, so we'll see. The boys will be here Saturday morning. Be back on Monday night. We should be at 3 Hermanos on Monday night, weather permitting. I think the weather's going to look good out on the patio, so maybe you can join us there. For Fort Rembert, Lanny Ford, have a great day. See ya.